Well, I think the first thing is that the target on our back just got way bigger. Conference is a grind from start to finish. There isn't a team in our conference that can't beat another team. So hopefully our kids are prepared for that. I know that physically we have what it takes to be successful against the teams in our conference, but we've got to be prepared for that mental grind, the day in, day out of everybody wanting to beat you. So it starts this week. Texas Women's coming in. They've got a lot of talent on their team, and we need to be prepared for that. Yeah, obviously it gives us confidence going forward, knowing kind of what type of team we can be. It sets the bar pretty high for our level of execution down the road, what we're striving for every single match. To come away from a weekend with wins over 2 top 10 teams, we beat number 6 and we beat number 2 and had a chance to beat a number 5. It was a good weekend, but just like I said about conference, it's a different story. Conference people know who you are. They know what you like to do. They know what your tendencies are. So it won't be as easy. You're not going to surprise anybody. Easy is not the right word. We're not going to surprise anybody what we're doing, as opposed to teams you see once a year maybe, or once every few years. So I think we're in good position, to move forward and tackle our conference schedule. But again, it's going to be a grind. Well, I feel like they're coming along, especially our setter. She's a freshman. She's learning, under fire, against some of the best teams in the country last weekend. I felt like she played pretty well, and didn't really get rattled and just played steady. She's working every day to be better. She's a work in progress, and she'll tell you that. She wants to be better every single day, and that's why I really like her, That's her mentality. So, the other players are they're getting better as well. They're trying every day to figure out what we do and try to do it at a high level, so that they can help contribute to what we're trying to do. She was a pretty unstoppable force this weekend. She took a lot of swings though, so we got to kind of monitor her, and but the reason why we won that match was because we did have, some balance attacking. Morgan Seaton stepped up and scored for us. A freshman, Tulani Titley, scored for us. Abby and Bree, were scoring for us. So it wasn't just her, but Mallory definitely made the most of her opportunities. She was wanting to win. She was willing our team to win this weekend, and that's what we've been missing for the past couple of years. Just that we're not going to lose mentality, and it was certainly there this weekend.
Was there anything different?
That we certainly were ready to take advantage of our opportunities, and in years past we've been in that tournament and we've had chances to play some number 1, number 2 ranked teams, so we've kind of come up short, and this team didn't want to waste that chance, and I'm proud of them for that. It was a great weekend. It was a lot of fun. I feel like our team is a lot closer, but beating good teams is a good thing for any team, that's for sure. Well, I think they know that that's the case, but I think it's going to be amplified now, now that they understand what level they can compete at. And then we did all 6 matches this week, this past week. We played 6 matches in 4 days and played at a pretty high level the whole time. Those are our expectations moving forward. So that's really what they're going to have to deal with, high expectations of themselves and from our staff. We want to play at that level all the time. We didn't want to just peak weekend 2. We want to keep getting better and bring that intensity and that determination to compete to the court no matter who we're playing against.
I think we're progressing well. I think going to that longer distance kind of showed us that we still have a lot of work to do. But we got to see a couple conference teams from the men's and the women's race both, and men ended up beating them both and women beat one of them. So I think we got a pretty good idea where we are right now. Well, I think it's good definitely for the future of the program. We know if we got somebody that good as a sophomore, we got a good future ahead of us. But for right now, it's nice to see how he's maturing and how he's figuring things out a little bit. And I think by the middle of this year, he's going to be really ready to rock and roll. Well, we were happy to see Kelsey run well. Claudia ran well, too. Kelsey just had an extremely good race, finished in the top 20, really high-caliber meet. So, we were happy with both of them, really.
Starts off really good. First half, I thought we played well. Going into locker room, I think it was 17-3 lead. Feeling good about it, but we talked about it to our kids that Northern Michigan was in that same situation the week before, that, they have fight in them. They've been able to come back and win a ball game. And so we talked about going out and playing fast and trying to put them away. And didn't. So then you start the downward slope with the turnovers and miscues that we had in the second half, but then come back up at the end to go through overtime and see our offense really perform well and pull us out at the end was a great feeling. Well, yeah, and as a coach, you always talk about never giving up and fighting until the end, and we actually saw that from our kids, and unfortunately from a standpoint, giving up some big plays in the fourth quarter, obviously a pick six, and then Northern Michigan had great field position with the punt return and penalty, and then they hit us with that toss pass. Those are big momentum changes in the game, and for our kids to just keep hanging on and keep grinding and be able to put themselves in a situation to have a chance to win the game at the end says a lot about them. Well, we feel pretty good. Obviously the improvements that we made from week 1 or week 2 were tremendous, and those are things that we got to continue to do going into Lone Star play. We know it gets really tough now with any opponent in the Lone Star Conference, and be able to start off with Tarleton, who's going to be coming off a close loss this past weekend. So they're hungry to get back in that win column. So it's going to be a great test to see where we are and see the improvements that we make from week 2 to week 3. Well, I think so, but I think we'll continue to see a little bit of Jesse Drummer. Jesse's done some great things for us and made some great throws on Saturday. So it's going to be still a process to see both of those individuals grow with their offense, and hopefully we'll see one quarterback really kind of starting to solidify that spot. Yeah, I could see some of that. They're similar in a way that they have big arms and can make some big time throws. Jesse's a little bit bigger, so you could see more of a power run game with him and do some little things like that. But it's just going to kind of be based on the flow of the game. Obviously, you don't want to switch a quarterback in if the offense is playing well at that time. So our offensive coaches have got to be strategic if they do incorporate that. But I'm excited about how both quarterbacks really handled the situation. They continue to encourage each other and be great friends, but they're huge. They're going to have to continue to do that to take some of that pressure off that quarterback. I think we're going to start seeing a lot of people start low in the box and forcing our quarterbacks to make some throws, because we've struggled a little bit in that area. But we got the guys on the outside that can make the plays, and so you could see a little bit of difference. Offense, I guess, going into this week based on what Tarleton gives us, but we're going to continue to play the running game, and you'll see 2 backs with Trey and Josh up there, and just continue to expand our offense as we go. Well, I think his reads were a little bit more crisp and quicker. I mean, obviously, you take away the interception, he had a great game, but he's more comfortable in his reads and where his eyes need to go based on where the defense is rolling and putting pressure on. So that's where you've seen it. I think he was more indecisive week 1, and going into this last game, more decisive in his throws. Well, it's they got some returners back on offense. Ed Warner at quarterback, Bubba Tandy at receiver, who's put up some big time numbers for them, and so very athletic group. You're going to see them stretch the field a little bit more from their receivers. Defensively, they're going to give us multiple fronts, multiple looks, and so our offense has got to be prepared and be able to block the different looks that they're going to get. Well, you got to clean up a lot, because 6 of 22 is not going to win many games in the Lone Star Conference, and so we'll see that go up. It's just there's some stupid mistakes that we made on our part that put us in 3rd and long. We had 2 receivers false start both times that put us in stuff that's a little bit harder to make calls. When it's 3rd down 15, there's not a lot of calls designed for that. So we need to be more in the 3rd down and 5 range, 3rd and short, to get that number back up. And so I think you'll see that as we continue to grow offensively. Yeah, definitely. You look back, and there's instances where offensively we were backed up, it was 3rd and short, miscue on the offense line up front, so that puts us in 4th. So you kick a field goal. We're great about getting 3 points, but we'd rather have 7. Obviously, so we're not in those situations, and so those miscues, those ones that we can control, whether it be the receiver false start or missing a block, so those things that we can go out there and work on and be better at and put us in those situations to be successful.
Coach,
Well, if you look at the score, you wouldn't have ever thought that that was the case. But that's what we talk about is obviously getting in third, putting them in third down situations, and then getting off the field. And only one conversion on their part says a lot about our defense. And the growth that those guys have been doing, our defensive line up front is playing at a tremendous level right now, and so which helps everyone behind them. So we got to continue to see that, especially with going into Tarleton, who's really made a great effort to run the ball, and so they're it's going to be a great challenge this week from our guys up front. Well, we're going to approach it just like any game. It's first conference play, 1-0. The great thing is the rival from the proximity. A lot of the same kids that we recruit, they recruit. A lot of our kids are friends with those guys, and so I don't know if we need to do anything to hype the game up anymore. It's with the location, we'll have a lot more fans that'll make the trip over there, which we're excited about. So you go back to the last time, the way we won at the end. I'm sure that they're talking about that still, and so I don't know if we'll have to do a lot to hype the game up from that standpoint, but I know our kids are excited that we're in Lone Star play.
Well, I think that one of the keys for us has been Ashley Exford. If you look through the last, this is her 5th year. She had a redshirt sophomore year, or redshirt freshman year, whatever you call it, after her first year. And Ashley's a fantastic defender, and I think that she is underappreciated sometimes by her teammates probably. She's probably undervalued by the other teams that we play against, and she's fantastic. And I think that she's going to be sorely missed. And I think that we're trying to drain every drop out of her in the time that she's here. She's so good. She's one of our captains the last 2 seasons now. She's learned how to do that. She's learned how to teach other players how to defend and how to be a good center back. And I think that we're going to miss her tremendously when she's gone. So she gets a lot of the credit. And I think also our freshman goalkeeper has come in, Sammy Kood, and she came in. She had a couple of really nice saves yesterday. She had a kick save early in the first half, and then she also had a save that tipped over the crossbar toward the end of the game. And those are 2 very important saves, and she had to make the one against Fort Lewis on Friday night. So good performance from the team defensively. Yeah, I think it's built up over time. I think that we work a lot on defending, and we have a lot of pride in our defending, and we feel like, listen, no matter what the other team does, if we can keep them from scoring, we're going to get a point in the game, no matter what. So, and then the offense's job is they've got to score. So on Friday, obviously, we didn't get that job done, and we're a little bit disappointed with that. The first 2 games, we had all these shots, and we got 5 goals out of it, and kind of what you would expect. This weekend, we had 27 shots and 20 shots, something like that, and we got 2 goals in 1 game out of that. So the offense needs to carry their weight, and right now that's going to be the pressure that we're going to put on them this next weekend. Moving forward is that they've got to do more with the chances that they're given. They're not going to get 20-some shots in a game and be able to expect a result. So from that point of view, they've got to pick up their game a little bit. And it's about challenging the team. Defenders, the shutout, we want them to get shut out, right? We expect it. And with the offense, we should expect them to score. When they have that many chances, they need to score more times. Well, I think the wins build confidence, especially with the younger players. I think with the returners, it builds confidence in the younger players and what they can do and how we can count on them moving forward when we get into crunch time in Lone Star Conference play. So I think that helps. I think that, looking far off into the future, I think that it gives us a better leg to stand on when we get into regional stuff and teams selected for the national tournament. Obviously, these games are an important part of that. But at the same time, I think that you got to look at the teams that we play, and there's no disrespect to anybody that we play, but how those teams do later in the year will impact how valuable that win is. And we don't want to look at a game and say, well, that was a huge win because it was this team or that team. We want to look at how we're performing right now. So I think for us, that's really the key right now, is still looking at internally how we're performing and not so much about how the other team performed and what they're doing. It's really about us trying to get better for Lone Star Conference play, so it prepares us for hopefully postseason play.